CC11, and it's all about being money savvy for young people. Now, I know for a fact that young people struggle when it comes to finance. School definitely doesn't cater for that need. And you'd find that lots of young people, by the time they finish university and they're just about to start their life, they have accumulated debt, tuition fees, they have so many things, like accommodation fees, credit cards, they've already overused, overdrawn on credit cards, they live month to month, and the list can go on. Now, money savviness for young people is something that I hold very close to my heart. And the reason for that is I have two kids. I have a 21-year-old and I have a 24-year-old that's still at university. Now, I always thought that school will cater more for, money awareness, making our children more aware of the power of money. But unfortunately, I think a big deal of money savviness comes down to parents, and it comes down to making their children aware. Now, I used to do this right from the time when my kids were about maybe 4 or 5 years old. And it actually started with just a piggy bank, because my husband and I were always very conscious of how our energy is towards money, because I always believe that money is not just a piece of paper, it actually is energy. And the way we treat it, the way we respect it, will help us to create a life of abundance. Now, today I have a very young woman that's going to be joining me on the Chatty Kappa. This is Nikhita. Nikhita is a qualified independent mortgage advisor. Yes, she's not in high school. She's 23-year-old. She still looks like she's in high school. But Nikita, over the lockdown, she actually started training as a mortgage advisor over lockdown. And I find that so fascinating. Being in the property investing business, we are constantly looking for mortgage advice. And many of our clients also need the right mortgage advice. So it's so important for young people to be able to have young people that are mortgage advisors to actually help them with their money, with advice when it comes to buying properties. Now, besides being money aware and besides being money savvy, Nikita also loved competing in gymnastics, and she loved traveling to new countries, seeing new places. And believe you me, all of those things cost money. So welcome, Nikita. Welcome so much. It's so great to have you on the show.
Thank you for me.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. And Nikita, tell us a little bit more about yourself.
So, obviously, I'm 23. I'm based in Milton Keynes. I've pretty much lived in Milton Keynes all my life, as long as I can remember. I just recently finished uni. I went to Coventry Uni for just 3 years. Yeah, like you said, I love traveling. I love going to new countries and just going and seeing the different cultures they have and how they all live in different places. I like traveling a lot, and yeah, I'm a very family oriented person.
Yeah, I know that's amazing, because my children are also very, very family orientated. They love learning from us and so on. So when and how did you develop this interest for money?
I would say it was picked up in high school. Obviously, growing up, like my dad and my mum obviously they've also helped me a lot by telling me obviously always to save money, don't go spending all your money, don't do this, and they have taught me that. But being in high school, I started learning about financial studies, and that just helped it grow like my interest towards it and learning.
That actually plant the seed, but I know Indian parents also, when it comes, they always say, be thrifty. My mom used to say, be thrifty, don't waste money,
Yes,
don't.
don't waste money. It comes from a very good place, very smart, because obviously a lot of people, if people aren't told that, they go and they'll just blow all their money on
Credit cards.
unnecessary things. You don't need it. You don't need it.
And if you think about it, as a young adult, when you go out at, on a weekend, like by the time you go from dinner to crawling around a few pubs, having a few drinks with friends, in any normal weekend, I think people normally spend like over £100.
You can easily spend a lot of money, yeah.
Yeah, isn't it? So I think when children and when young adults at university, I don't think they realize that when they have to buy their own food, they have to buy their own groceries, they have to fend for themselves being outside home, that it's so important to know how to manage your money. Nikita, when you started to develop this interest for money, what made you go into property investing and property investing advice?
I think there was just something inside of me, and I just thought like I wanted to be an advisor, probably just to teach, or not teach, guide other people, as you don't really learn any of it in school.
Yeah.
So me learning about it, me being interested in it and understanding it, I think obviously I can help other people that might not have the knowledge, maybe either growing up or even grown adults still, like a lot of them just won't have the knowledge on what to do
Yeah.
with their money, to how to make their money work for them, really. So you can have loads of disposable income, and it's just sitting maybe just in your current account or in a normal ISA. But if you invest it, if you obviously invest in properties is one thing, or just to invest in stocks and shares, like you can make that money grow instead of letting it just sit there.
Absolutely. I had this conversation with my daughter the other day because she started working, and she's telling me, Mommy, I've got an ISA, but it's getting like less than 1%
Yeah.
interest in it. And that's ridiculous. So what else can I do? So my son is very, like, when it comes to investing and investments and the knowledge behind it. And he said, Sahana, I'll help you. Let's sit down and see what's the best way. And I can't believe, like, at this moment, cryptocurrency is like going way over the coin. I'm on Coinbase, and I've got a few investments in that. And at this time, over the last 2 months, it's like it's going higher and higher and higher, which is great. It's brilliant to see that. But how do you advise young people the best ways to actually put their money, so to see their money grow quicker?
I would say when you're young, obviously not everybody is going to have access to like a qualified financial advisor. I'd always recommend going to someone that's qualified over like an amateur that doesn't know his thing, might give you the wrong advice and you end up maybe losing your money. But I would say make like stocks and shares ISAs instead of a cash ISA possibly, where obviously you're getting that very low percentage. Obviously stocks and shares, you've got the potential for it to grow. But when you're young, I would say saving money is very, very essential. I'd say minimum a third of your disposable income should be saved. So after you've spent everything on all your essentials, possibly rent, food, your phone bills, all of that, and then whatever's left, about a third minimum, or a half if you can, I'd save that.
Okay.
And then the rest of the money you can use obviously to spend. But I think
that is very important, because I was reading up the Business Insider online, and they were saying that because of inflation, the millennials need to save more money for their retirement. And they said now at this moment, some people between the ages of 24 and 30, 25 and 34, they are not even saving some of them are only managing to save about 5.3% of their income. And if you think about it, you said, a third should be saved, and that's like 33%. So you can actually see the
Yeah.
disparity when it's time for these millennials to retire, they wouldn't have enough money to live a successful life.
Yeah, like a comfortable retirement.
Yeah, and that is scary. That's super scary. So just in case I had a young, because in our property investing business, we are roundabout properties in Milton Keynes. So if I have maybe somebody that's just started working, out of uni, started working, good job, but don't know what to do with their money, and they come to you, they need advice on maybe property. How would you go about giving them that advice? And what advice how would you put them on the right footing?
If they wanted to get into properties, they would have to have the income for that and have enough disposable as well on the side for, if they didn't have tenants in the house that they're renting out for a period, that obviously they still need to pay the mortgage that you're going to take out on it.
Yeah.
So there are lots of checks that are made. I'll definitely say properties and building a property portfolio is really, really good to have for anybody. Obviously, if you're younger, you start from a younger age, then you can build it as you're growing, and you can grow. If you even want to start an older age, I'd definitely properties, because property prices always increasing.
Yeah.
Majority of the time, they are going to increase. If they drop, they will climb back up.
Yeah.
It's a very, very good investment to make, and it's also, it can be like a side kind of business you have. So you can have your main job, and if you do properties on the side, you're just growing your income. Like, you can't go wrong. So if you have the means to do it, I would really recommend it.
So there are a lot of people, young people, that are struggling to build their wealth for so many different reasons. In your experience, what are some of the reasons why people, especially young people, the millennials, are really struggling to build their wealth?
I think a lot of young people, I think there's a lot of pressure from like society to have like the latest trends, have designer clothing, have designer items, but you got to realize, like, you're young, obviously you'll have a job, but you can't go spend your whole paycheck on one Gucci item if you can't buy anything else the rest of the month. Like, I think a lot of people are spending their money and living beyond their means. Like, you can afford it, but you can't afford it, if you understand what I mean.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, okay, you can buy it. So I'll go by saying, like, don't buy it if you can't buy two. If you can't buy it twice over, don't buy it. You don't have the money for it. So I think that's caused like a big issue, and obviously a lot of people not understanding. I think when you're young, you get a job, you get money, you spend that money because you're probably living with your parents, and you think, oh, I don't need to save anything, I'm living at home, I can spend my whole paycheck. But then, like you said, it will come to going to uni or just coming out of uni, and then you have no money, you have nothing to really show.
Yeah.
So I think you really need to start from a young age and just don't fall into all of these, like, all this pressure, like, I need to have the newest, I need to have the latest, you know what I mean?
Need to have the latest Jordans.
You know what? Yeah.
You know what? I'm all for, if you can afford it, you go and enjoy it.
Or maybe, I don't know, maybe on your birthday, like, or just a one-off, but like, and you think, oh, this is a really nice bag, maybe you save for it, like, it's whatever you want, then get it. But don't just get it to show people you've got it. Do you know what I mean? Like, don't just do it to impress other people, which I think a lot of people do.
Yeah, you know what? We have some tenants in our buy-to-lets that are renting now. They're such loyal tenants to us. They're renting for more than 8 to 9 years. Now imagine the amount of money that they've been spending. Yes, it makes me a very happy landlord. However, we are always there adding value to our tenants, where we want to help them to move on to buying their own property.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit more about why is it important to be money savvy? at the age you are?
I think if you start from a young age and you form habits from your young age,
Yeah.
going forward in life, you'll be more financially stable. You won't be building up loads of credit card debt, which would be bad debt. You don't want to have bad debt that will cause you problems later in life. Say if you're going to get a mortgage and you've got really bad credit history, it will be a lot harder. I think when you have your own family, you want to be able to teach your kids the correct ways on how to use your money, and it's good knowledge to give them as well from a young age if you start from a young age.
What would be your advice to parents that have young children?
I would say start by, you can open up a junior ISA, which is a tax-free savings, and I think you can just, as a parent, put money in as much as you can and as much as you want to for your child, so that when they are older, they will then have those savings there already, which you can use towards their university. Say if you need to be sending them money, you can use that towards maybe their house deposit for when they want to buy a house or anything, their wedding. Like, I would definitely say junior ISA is a very, very good way to go if you've got kids, if you've got young kids in your family. I think parents being an example to kids. So if your parents are there recklessly spending, your kids are going to kind of get that same trait by looking at you. They'll look up to you and think, oh, my parents can spend all their money and be
Live
happy
for the day. Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, if you've got the money, by all means, if you're earning enough to be living that life and spending this, that, and the other, and still having like a comfortable amount of money, then that's different. But
Nikita, you wouldn't believe it. I read a lot and I go to a lot of networking events where you find that people are really well off, property networking events. And one thing I realized with rich people, they don't waste their money.
they don't, because they're smart. They know how to make their money work for them.
Exactly. They don't waste their money. They don't bother about what they are wearing.
They don't.
They,
It's
they
true.
might enjoy their cars, some of them, but
But that's
people,
like they want that, so they've gone and got a nice car. They've saved for it. They've got the money. They can. They don't. They don't care to be wearing all their designer clothes all day because they're spending that money elsewhere. Do you know what I mean?
and absolutely, and some of them don't even travel business class.
Yeah, because you don't. It's not a necessity.
It's not a necessity,
Nice, but it's not a necessity.
and they know that they worked for that money. They know exactly how they worked for that money. I'm a big one for service in the community is a huge charity is a huge thing for me and my family. So we all, with our property business, we actually have three businesses. We have a cleaning business that I have JV'd with my niece. We have a property business that's been going on, and I also have my therapy. And I use a lot of my therapy with people when it comes to giving advice. We do a lot of I do a lot of webinars on manifestation of money, removing money blocks, creating good energies around money, and we do a lot of vision and achievement board planning. So I do this very often because I feel like it's so important to put whatever you want out into the universe. And I always believe that the universe, the law of attraction, it gives it back to you. If you don't put it out there, you wouldn't materialize it. So I always believe in that. Now, coming back to other reasons why millennials and young people struggle, according to the Business Insider, besides student loans, and they've actually said that it takes them far longer to save for a house. And the sad thing is, they're in a catch-22 situation where they want to buy a house. It takes a long time for them to save for that house, but because of inflation and because of how well property is doing, house prices are continuously increasing, and it's like they have to play catch up.
Yeah.
And sometimes some people take more than 10 years to actually save to buy a property.
Yeah.
And personally, to actually get onto the property ladder after 30, it is quite a strain when you have to think about it.
Yeah.
So I think my advice as a parent, but the advice that I also give my children is save, 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 save. And it's very easy to purchase on Amazon, and everyone's ready to give you a credit card.
Hmm.
We fell into that trap of credit cards maybe about 15 to 20 years ago. And I remember my husband and I, we were in debt. We ended up taking money from our mortgage when we were remortgaging to pay off the debt. And that's the day we cut up all our credit cards.
Yeah.
We have just one credit card for, buy things like, plane tickets, holidays, and things like that. But between us, we've only got one credit card. And I realized that the day that I cut my credit cards actually gave us freedom, freedom of not being bound to interest rates, not being bound to banks and so on. And I realized that that's when my wealth, my husband and I, our wealth started growing. And it is freeing. What is your advice to young people about credit cards?
I can give the advice my dad gave me, and that is don't fall into the trap. Basically, if you're going to get a credit card, still don't spend beyond your means. Spend so you can pay it off, because a lot of people, you'll get your credit card to build a credit score. So obviously I'm 23, I don't own a credit card. I have thought about it to build a credit score, but I haven't yet got one because I don't spend money I don't have. So I would say, if you're going to get a credit card, don't fall into the trap, don't fall into bad debt. Make sure you can pay it off every month. Otherwise, it's going to go to the stage where you'll spend a little bit and be like, oh, it's okay, I'll pay it off when I can. And you'll get further down into it, and it's going to be hard to get out of it. Very hard to get out of it. So, yeah.
And it's so easy to go online. And I know during this COVID time, people have been doing online shopping like crazy. And it's so easy to buy things from, to buy clothing and things like that. The other day, I asked my daughter, why are you buying clothing? You're not going anywhere. Why? And she herself realized habit. Sometimes through habit, we develop certain habits that actually is not very constructive for us to grow. And she realized that, and she says, oops, you're so right. We don't have anywhere to go. During this time of COVID, people have been actually saving money.
Yeah.
Because they are not going out to eat. Going out to eat for a family of four costs nothing less than £50 or more. People are saving when it comes to like buying clothing. If they've got a family of four, you can imagine the amount of money they spend on clothing, and so on. And they starting to learn, and I hope these are some things that they carry on taking forward, even post-COVID. What would be your 3 best tips for people to become money literate and to start this ladder of success?
I would say save. Learn how to save from a young age. Like you say to your kids, save. And like I said, a third minimum, if you can, half of your disposable income. Obviously, I know sometimes it will be a lot harder, COVID times and all, like you might need to spend more money, but if you can, try and save that much. Don't buy it if you can't buy two.
I love that.
That's a good one. I would definitely say don't buy it if you can't buy two, and think long term. Don't just think for the short term, think long term, because you need to think about your future as well.
I know like lots of children are becoming no, I won't say burdened. I think burdened is the wrong word. I think lots of young people are taking care of their elderly parents. And they realize that by taking care of their elderly parents, they are spending quite a lot on maybe, place for them to live, shopping, clothing, toiletries, and so on. So part of their monies are going towards that too. It's a huge thing that's happening. A lot of these youngsters are carers for their elderly parents and their sick parents, and that's another reason what the Business Insider actually said. That's why young people are struggling with money issues. Before we finish, I'm gonna tell you a little story about when my son, when he was about, I think, 12, he wanted to play golf. He was so intrigued in playing golf. Now, you know that golf is quite an expensive game. So we told him, okay, now I think he was about 9. So we told him, okay, you want to play golf, you save half of your pocket money to buy a set of golf clubs, and daddy and I would put the rest. And he did that. It took him longer to start, but he did that. And you wouldn't believe it that because he purchased it, he used to go for golf. We used to put him for some golfing lessons. And when he used to come back, he used to actually shine and polish and clean his golf clubs.
I think it's better like that when a parent says, okay, I'm not going to just give it to you on a plate, you save part of it. And it means, I think, like you said, when he comes home and clean, it means more to them. They're like, this is my money that's gone into this as well. So they have
Absolutely.
more value to them.
And you start to take care of your things. It's, I think sometimes parents, because they don't have enough time with their children, they feel like it's easier to give them all the material things they need and they want, because that's a quick fix and that's easier than
Yeah.
giving them time. So I think if there's one advice that me from a therapist that I would give parents is, you know what, teach your children to be money savvy. Teach your kids the values, because when you teach them how to respect money, because it's an energy, they start to respect themselves and they start to treasure and they start to actually add value to whatever they buy. So a dress could cost 10 quid. But
Mm.
if they put in half what they buy it themselves, they're adding value and they will take such good care of that dress or that pair of trousers or whatever. So if you want to teach your children to be money savvy, I would say start from the age of 5 years old. Talk to them about money, talk to them about expenses. And by you talking to them about, how much you paid for electricity or how much you pay for, your food, it doesn't mean you're burdening them. It means that you're just teaching them what life is all about. So sit down and have real conversations. Talk about income, talk about expenditure, and show them how in life you do need a balance of everything. And it is up to us as parents. And Nikita, if your parents hadn't instilled that in you, if your mom didn't say, save your money, save, 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 you also would, it's very easy to fall into that trap of being, I want to be like the next person. I want to be like the person. I want the handbag that the person on social media has, and so on. So, this is such a real topic. I would love for you to come back onto the Chatty Cuppa and do more money shows for young people, because I think there's a dire need for that. I know my kids are going to enjoy watching this and taking some of your advice on board. What would be one word that best sums up you and your vision for 2021?
I would say success.
Success.
Successful. Yeah. I think I think that's what my 2021 will bring me.
Yeah, and it will bring you success. And what are some of what are some of the things you have in place so that you can see that word becoming a reality?
So I I would do like a lot of networking to help grow my client base.
Mm.
Being newly qualified, that's where I need to start. Obviously, a lot of training. I work very closely with the MD of this company, and he gives me great training and on what to do. I can call him at any time and just say, "This is my issue." Like I think having a good team around me is also going to help me. So it would be my success, but I wouldn't be able to do it without the people around me, which is really good. And just having your head screwed on, just thinking this is my goal, don't sway, just keep at it, I think. And I think from 2020 we've learned that you need to keep your head down. You need to think what you want, and you can. A lot of people got successful in 2020 with lockdown. It just depends how you approached it, how you approached everything. So
I was
yeah.
surprised the amount of businesses that opened during lockdown.
Yeah.
It's just amazing, and remember that whatever we do, it has an impact on other people. So if you're opening up your own business, you're adding value to other people, and you will be helping other people, solving their problems, and this is just amazing. Thank you so much, Nikita, for coming on the Chatty Kappa,
Yeah.
talking about money savvy for young people. Can you tell us where we can get you, where people can get hold of you if they want some, advice on mortgages and buying a new property, buying their first home?
Find your first home. So we can go to First Financial's website, just here. So first number one stff.co.uk, or my LinkedIn page, just Nikhita Ravaliya. Just message me on LinkedIn or send me an email, which will be at nikita1stff.co.uk. Anyway, or yeah, if you just send me a message, I can give you a call and we can have a conversation.
Oh, that's brilliant, and I will definitely be doing the same thing, directing people to you.
Thank
It's
you.
been lovely chatting to you, and thank you so much for those tips. And those tips are amazing, and I'm so proud. I'm sitting here like a mom, so proud to see you
Thank
doing
you.
what you are doing and inspiring other people. And definitely, by being here, you are inspiring my community. And so, guys, this brings us to the end of the Chatty Kappa. Remember, money is an energy. We need to take care of it. We need to respect it. And remember, the first £10 you make, take that single £10 and write down your feelings towards that £10, that 10 quid, and put it up on your vision board. And tell yourself that £10 is going to multiply and multiply and double, and you will find that from respecting that energy, which is the money, it starts to grow. And you know the famous saying that you hear people saying, do you think money grows on trees? No, it doesn't, but it definitely grows. And you are responsible for that growth of your money. Spend wisely, invest very wisely, and be a risk taker now and again. And remember, when you have an open heart and an open mind, that is the key to success and happiness. Keep smiling from Nirasha Ramlugan, from Just Simply Change. Lots of love. Be blessed always.